Hey, you guys, this is Courtney Camaro. I'm outside of Muhammad Ali's real original home. We're in Chicago, and I wanted to shout out Al's Botanics and Herbs. Man, when I tell you, I am one of those people that has insomnia. I can't sleep. I can't focus on some days because I'm so sleep deprived, and this has helped. This is one of the mixtures he has that helps with sleep.
So this is kind of like a response to basically Sergeant Willie Pete's theory on basically white elites paying more or paying people and them paying people will miraculously, this is according to what his logic is as far as what he says, that they will basically just, because they got more money, they can have more children and they can, basically have stable relationships with women in America, and everything will just kind of play itself out. Let's just even throw in housing goes really, really cheap and you can afford a house, or everyone can, or housing is just way more affordable. That's still not gonna deal with women's behavior and women's choice and independence. There is no putting the genie back in the bottle. Like, the thing is like, what people don't know, or they just can't get through their heads. And this is from people younger and older. It's not like, women, you, this is why it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can see millionaires, superstars, and everything going through divorce, going through drama, having issues with relationships, and these people are millionaires and billionaires. And it's like, okay, how much money do you need to have a woman respect you? Like, how much, what is the respectable amount? Like, how much money do I need to have women, or a woman, to respect you? Now, a lot of it is, you got a lot of dudes and simps that get with women that they shouldn't be getting with, and this breeds all of this contentment and all of this this disrespect and value system of you having to pay. And when I was coming up, we wasn't having discussions about how much you should pay to get women, or you know it wasn't a concern about if you go on a date to this place, to this restaurant versus this restaurant. All of this shit is social media. Like, yeah, if everybody got a job making $100,000 tomorrow, is social media gonna go away? Is the internet gonna go away? Is all of the damage psychologically that basically through social engineering women, basically have been programmed to be, is that gonna go away? It's like everybody would have to get like a Men in Black, like pen wipe or laser wipe or whatever, that a flash of light. So like, people just forget, because I mean, last time I checked, man, you have a lot of women that are very disrespectful, very entitled and spoiled, and that it's almost impossible to change that behavior. And having a sustainable 1950 styles nuclear family with women like that is nearly impossible. I mean, like, uh nearly impossible, because I mean, you're dealing with emotions and uh basically animal behavior. You can't throw money at bad behavior. There's no amount of money that you can make to please a woman that is just entitled and spoiled, and even might even be mildly psychotic. It's no money that's gonna fill that void, and it's a lot of women that are like that, and a lot of them are actually actively taking medication because they have some type of psychological issue. This is like one of the many things that people don't really talk about how many women are actually on psychotropics. And it's like, I mean, well, I'll admit, like, if people did have, let's just say, if people had more money, like made more money, or let's just say the economy was a lot better than it is, and jobs were plentiful and they paid very well, and the housing costs were stable enough that that you could work for Chick-fil-A and then pay a mortgage, somewhere. Um, and it's like, okay, at the end of the day, yeah, I think some people will probably have more children. They might be more incentivized to have children and get married and do all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, you can't the genie is not going back in a bottle. It basically, when way before I was even born, and most people on here was even born, women already made decisions that shaped basically social engineering, that basically they socially engineered the entire country. In like the 1960s and 70s, when basically being a single mother became commonplace. And once women started to basically get their own independence from men and realize, okay, I can actually raise children without men, more of them did that. And then they raised generations of children in that dynamic. So it's normalized for them. It's nothing you can do to wipe that away. That's why it doesn't matter how much you make. That's why these, superstars, these millionaires, uh billionaires, they're not able to even keep a woman. And they're rich, they're wealthy. Like, it's just, I'm talking for the masses of people, like just on a massive level. Like, you making more money is not going to reverse how women are. It's just not. It's no dollar amount that is going to reverse just basically the degradation of society. It's already took its course. Women have already tasted the they already bit the apple of independence and feminism, and I can make my own money. I could do whatever I want to do. I don't want to be told what to do. It ain't no dollar amount that's gonna fix that, unfortunately, because you going outside of money. Money is very, very limited. Money can't money can't change anyone subconscious and conscious brain. Like, money can't necessarily do that. It's no dollar amount that you can subconsciously and consciously shape women's mindset. Like, they can't they're a product of their environment, the way they were raised. They have habits, they have things that they know that they can do, and that's what they already know what to do. Like, they already are the way they are. They don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they don't want to be told what to do by a man or anyone. uh, I mean, they don't need you. They're disrespectful. A lot of them have attitudes, very, very bad attitudes, so bad that they can't even keep women for friends. Like, you can't. It's no reversal of that. It's no dollar amount that's gonna fix that. That's why women just, kind of running around in circles, just kind of just looking crazy, because it's no man that could be with a woman that is that dysfunctional. That's why they get depressed, and then they, popping pills and smoking weed, doing all kind of shit to cope, because they fucked up. And it's a byproduct of an imbalance of society. Their grandma chose to be independent. It was a social movement that was basically designed by the CI, what, to just basically destroy um a lot of, I think the incentive was to keep the poor population under control, just to keep them under control, and you know just kind of as a form of self-subjugation, to just put women over poor men, because it is an element to this, that it's always something to do with the elites and damn near everything, right? It seems, right? And the thing is that this only affected poor men. It didn't affect the rich, because they already had stable households. They still, most of the stable households that are married are well-to-do individuals, wealthy individuals. Upper class has the highest marriage rates and the lowest divorce rates as of right now. And the thing is, putting women in the workforce, feminist movement, all of that was basically a government plot. It was a government plot to undermine poor men and have women compete with them. To probably, because you got to understand, a lot of things are based off of kind of like eugenesis, or even mate suppression, you know, because even wars. The unfortunate reason why some countries go to war, it's a form of population control. And who goes? The poor men go to fight. Unfortunately, this is one of the sad black pills that I had to swallow when I got out the military, and then I realized what it was about. Not just because I was in it, just in hindsight of just looking at all of the wars, looking at all of the documentaries on who funded these wars, and what they were about, and secret backroom deals and all of that type of stuff. And then you start getting kind of deep into you start putting your tinfoil hat on, and then you just start going deep in the rabbit hole. And you can go in all these secret societies and shit like that. But the thing is that, yeah, like, the elites really didn't want a whole bunch of a huge population. They didn't want a whole bunch of people populating, to be like, low key. Nobody hardly talks about that, but elites don't really want. If you really, who was the richest person at one time for like a long time? The owner of Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates. He has on record public speeches of him saying his desirability to control populations of Africa and all other, just around the world. That's low key. That's kind of what they were. That's kind of the black pill of reality, is that, yes, some of these elites have certain desires about how low they want or high they want the population to be. Even to even be more diabolical, what population they want the world to be. Like, some will even say the whole COVID shit was a plot to lower the population. Who knows? But the thing is, they don't have any incentive. I don't think they want a big population. They don't want a big population in this country. They just uh they really kind of want to undermine the poors, keep the poors at bay. That's what they used to do in Europe. They used to keep the peasants at bay, right? Give them bread and circus, right? Like, it's even if you take all of the elites out of it, because the reason why I started talking about the elites was as far as the whole welfare and the feminist movement and the drug pushing drugs in the black communities and Latin communities. The thing is that at the end of the day, even all that aside, women are women. Modern women, are modern women. They have certain things that they don't want to do anymore, certain things they're not really hip to, or they're not really trying to do. And that's just how they are. It's no dollar amount that is going to make them be 1950s housewives. It's no dollar amount that's going to bring that. Will some do it? Yes. Do all women want to be housewives? Obviously not. You hear them say it out their mouth, they don't want to be housewives. And even wanting versus being able to be a housewife is totally different. Totally different. Like, for example, um, my grandmother was at one time a housewife. She trained her youngest daughter on how to be a housewife, and she was a housewife. Like, I mean, it's something that you're trained to do. These women are not trained to be housewives. They weren't trained to be wives. So it's just like, just imagine a nation of dropouts. And I'm not even talking about college dropouts. I'm talking about high school dropouts. Just imagine the standard in America was people are the average person is a high school dropout. Which high schools is kind of hard, but not really that fucking hard. Wasn't really that hard. You can, damn near everybody can, uh, show up to high school and pass a high school. Okay. It wasn't that hard. But the whole thing is the reason why I'm asking, what if the standard was everyone was high school dropouts? Let's just say 70% of the country was high school dropouts. That's on average. They did not finish high school. So all of what comes from that, from being a high school dropout, not really making them, you're not gonna, is like, statistically, high school dropouts don't earn as much as college grads, people that have some college or graduate level degrees. They don't earn as much. They earn the lowest out of all of the other categories. And it's certain expectations that most likely they're going to fit. Most likely whatever work they're going to do or trying to do is blue collar work. Mostly all of it is blue collar work. And they're not necessarily thespians or scholars either, because they didn't go to college. They didn't even graduate high school. So they don't, it's very few people are autodidact polymaths, you know, and didn't graduate high school. Okay. Like, it just doesn't work like that. Goodwill Hunting was just a movie. Okay. The thing is that I say all of that to say, well, that's the same with these women. Unfortunately, the standard wasn't to train women to be wives. Like, it was like the factory was compromised. For the wife factory was compromised in 1960. The elites blew up the wife factory, and they pushed welfare for the poors and mostly the blacks, right? Let's keep it real. So basically, the wife standard, it became not the standard. Anything goes. Women are pretty much just basically for survival being gay. Like, the whole, like, women, calling black men gay because they get pissed off, and then they're very, if you listen to them talk and you listen to their interactions, most black women are very pro homosexuality, right? Very, very much so, right? And they, like, they have gay friends and everything like that. Like, the thing is that not only are they pro gay, a lot of them are gay. A lot of them are choosing bisexuality and homosexuality of some of many sorts to as a relationship choice. They're the rising, their numbers are rising in that category. You know, as and they do it for survival a lot of times too, because they can't depend on a man to take care of them. A woman is the only option that's left, and that's what they're choosing. So it's like it you know, I hate to say it, like I hate to kill people's hopes and dreams, and you know, I hate to, like, you know, um give you some type of nihilistic viewpoint on what actually is. But unfortunately, tell me I'm wrong, because unfortunately, the reality is unfortunately what it is. Like, it's just it's no genie going back in a bottle. You know, if you know, like, Greek mythos and different stories, I think it was like basically, so there was like a box. It was called Pandora's box. And in Pandora's box was like basically all of the dark, evil realities, you know, just the you know, dark demons, and just darkness and evil was trapped inside that box. For whatever reason, the box, I don't remember who opened the box, but someone or somehow that box got open. Pandora's box, basically all of that evil and everything that was in that box, it was called Furbows. Furbows was in that box. And after the box was open, after Pandora's box was open, four bows was unleashed to the earth, and it was not going back in the box. It was already out. Okay, like, pretty much that's just kind of how it is. I mean, you know, I don't want people to lose hope and you know, want to jump off the fucking 30th floor, but I mean, I don't. It's not. I think that what will end up happening is, if, like, just say magically all the simps, you know, went to the simp asylum, like, you know, it's just a big ass building, a bunch of big ass buildings all across the United States that simps can just go in and then basically, you know, take some medication or something to get their simp chip deactivated, because the simps are very much part of the problem. You know, Sims are the problem, if you want to ask me. I think even the whole, whoever in the government wanted to do all of this, I think they were simps. I mean, like, basically, you know, you got to put the, you know, like, the simps got to go to the simp asylum, right? They got to go check their crazy ass in, right? You know, and they get the medication to dissolve their simp chip. Okay, because you gotta like, let's just say I'm just trying to leave with a solution to the future, because it's already fucked for us. If you're millennial, if you're, you know, fucking Gen X, you already know you're fucked. You know, pretty much. I mean, only hope is whatever the hope that you have left. And you know, pretty much your, you know, the situation is pretty much done. You know, if you're single and, you know, all that type of shit, as far as trying to find somebody in this country, I mean, you already know it is what it is. Like, and that goes for everyone, you know, down to even probably even Z's. Like, it's cooked. You know, everything is already cooked, right? This is, you know, it's already cooked. And the thing is like, well, to uncook it, or to restate, you know, restabilize to, like, to some future, the future children of America, you know, you gonna have to deal with, like I say, the simps got to go to the simp asylum, because they bring all of this to existence, because It's not like all of the women go be gay. A lot of them choose simps, and they disrespect them. They yell at them and all of that. Just you know all kinds of stuff. The simps pay for them to live life however they want to live. You know, and do whatever they want to do and support their arrogance and all of that. Like, this is what these guys do. So it's like they gotta go somewhere. And the only place I can think of is a simple asylum. They gotta go check in. Okay, so after you deal with the simps, I mean, basically, you know, these women have to live their days. They live their days. And what I mean, I'm trying to be nice about this shit. I'm trying to be PG about this, but basically what I'm trying to tell you is natural selection is going to have to take its course as far as, after you deal with the Sims, these women have to just live and you're already seeing this in real time. I'm not speaking past tense. I'm speaking like future and then present present time. Like these women have to just, live out their days. Like so once the younger women see these women get cooked and fried and basically um transpire, with their cats or their puppies by their side or their dog, and then they see the depressing life that these women decided to choose, working for the man, you know giving it everything you can to move up and living a stressful life, trying to trying to be some masculine woman. Once these women see these women just be absolute losers in life, and it gets depressing. You already seeing this. Disease are already kind of, they're the probably first generation of seeing this. So they're seeing their aunts, their grandmas, their mothers be absolute losers. And then women, what they do is anybody, even men, if whatever your father or your mother was a loser at, if you in your right state of mind, evolutionarily speaking, you don't want to do that dumb shit that they were doing, or you want to avoid it if all possible. So like if nothing in life, you don't want to be a loser like they are. So once these women see these losers lose in life, the actual reality of it, and then everything, kind of going to dust, and basically, in the words of Kevin Samuels, buy a dog, die alone, they are going to, basically look at things a little bit, serious when it comes to things. I don't really want to end up like that. So maybe I might not be, I'm already cooked, but I'm going to try to raise my daughter to not do what I did or what my mother did and blah, blah, blah. And then, basically maybe there's, some type of progression, and it's like, basically things have to work themselves out, like on a like social level, to where to a certain extent men and women have to be in a situation where they need each other, because pretty much that's why, the whole 1950s thing was a valid thing where more people were married, because society back then, everybody kind of needed each other. Like, um, I would even say the women really needed the men, because they weren't conditioned to welfare. Welfare was, kind of something new, right? So they needed, the only welfare women had was men. Their man, their husband was their welfare system. So basically they needed men financially, they needed you know, security wise, all of that. They needed men, you know. And it was a lopsided thing to where, yeah, women really needed men. Men wanted women, and even I would even say needed women too if they wanted to have children. They need a mother to raise their children, right? So they needed women too. But the thing is that that need is not it's not it's not the same situation, because they don't need men. They just don't. They really don't. It's an option. And a lot of women, they do exercise their option, but they don't need men. It's an optional situation, or an optional choice. Whereas 1950s, it was not an optional choice. It was a matter of life or death. Being homeless, or penniless, or under a man's house, that's your husband taking care of you, um the best way he can. Like, that was reality, and that was universally, like, that was white women, that was everybody, like, that was how that was. That was the expectations at that time. That was the standard. But it's like, women can make as much money as they possibly want to or can. They can do whatever they want, as far as, you know, choosing to be a wife, or choosing to be single, or choosing to be with another woman. I mean, they can do whatever they want. They have more options. They make more money, and um yeah, they really don't have to be wives. They don't have to to be even mothers. Some women are opting out from actually being a mother, not having any children, being basically um a woman that never had a child, right? Or, I think they call them barren women. I don't know. Like, a lot of women are just not choosing to have any children ever. Like, no longer wanting to have children. I mean, they want to have sex with men, but they don't want to have children. So yeah, it's to some degree or another, the only way that would work. The whole, you know society would have to basically, and you kind of already seeing it now. I think some companies, they start letting go women, because they want women to basically kind of like, just, kind of have to depend on men again. I mean, even women were saying, when Trump won again, that the way things are gonna go, because it was like a movement, or something, where women was trying to decenter men. It's probably still going on, right? But even the leader of the whole decenter movement, right? She said, you might, for survival, you gonna probably have to center men again. So, I mean, like, to what I'm saying is, like, if men, because men, a lot of men own companies. A lot of men have a lot of corporate interests. Mainly white men. A lot of white men pretty much control the corporate interests in the United States. If they all was like, you know what, we want some, like, more hands made and tail action going on, they can collide and collude, and just not hire women. Maybe they might hire more white women than everybody else, and then, just the blacks and the Latinas, unless you're a big booty Latina. Like if you're a big booty Latina, they'll give you a pass. But all the little booty Latinas, they gonna get a pink slip. Yeah, they could actually do that. They have the power actually to do that if they all colluded to just do that. And I'll even say it seems like that's one of the things that they're trying to do from what I can see as far as the hirings and the firings and whatnot. It's the whole 300,000 black women thing. Like I think that is what you know their their uh their goal is. They're trying to Monahan the black community. But the thing is that I don't know. Like women undesirability to a lot of women's undesirability to be dependent on men drives them into sheer madness. It's women living in cars, living under, living in tents, living in, abandoned cars and shit, and non-running cars and cars in general, just because they don't want to just kind of like live with a man and just basically give themselves to the best man they can, and just live up under a man like that, literally. Like, so I mean, you're having women already dealing with this, and there is going to be a new crop of women that's going to have to deal with this because they just not socially conditioned and trained to be up under men. I mean, when you got, like I said, going back to the standard being women, basically not raised with their father, like, I mean, you gonna have a lot of like, it's a lot of behavioral, like abnormal behavior or different behavior from that. You got, for one of the things is women will not really, they will not be comfortable around men. Like they'll be uncomfortable around men because they weren't raised around a man. The mother, the father split before they were born or when they were two or whatever. And if the father just never come, because you got some dudes that they just don't, they just kind of like, you know, their kids, they don't really basically they just pay for child support and they don't even see their kids. They're responsible for paying the child support because the state puts pressure on them, and then they got to do whatever they got to do. But you know if the state wasn't involved, they wouldn't even be trying to pay no child support. Like, I mean, they just it's just they got a kid that they paying child support for, or maybe the father's in prison or the father's dead. What in And it's like that young girl, she has no interactions, and if the mother doesn't pick the right man, if a man is around, a man might be trying to sleep with the daughter, and that brings in even more just dysfunctional behaviors and responses later in life. um and it just makes it even more harder for that woman to actually ever have a stable relationship with the man or even trust the man. um it's a lot of women that the reason why they're gay or hate men because some man was touching them or dealing or having sex with them when they were a young little girl. Like, I mean, it it's, man, you'll be surprised. Like, I got family that are they're like psychologists, and you know he he's like basically he was telling me a story when he was in school and they were having like group sessions for the entire classroom, and it was like multiple women disclosed that they were molested when they were younger, or they, got assaulted, sexually assaulted by, a family member or a family friend or somebody, right? Some older man, basically took advantage of them when they were younger. And it was like it wasn't like it was just one chick or a couple chicks talking. It was like, 50 people in the classroom. It was like more than 10 were telling a story about how they were, basically harmed by some men when they were a little girl or when they was a teenager. And it's like, the thing is like that opens the door for that, because the woman, it ain't like women go have children and become Mother Teresa, or well, actually, that's Mother Teresa is a bad example, because Mother Teresa is actually evil. But they that's a whole nother story. But the thing is, like, basically a nun. It's not like women will become, nuns once they have children. They still want to deal with men, and they still want to have sex with men, and then they probably want to have like they want to have a husband so they can, prove to everybody else, they made it and they did it right, and you know just kind of clean up the mess that they made with the first baby daddy, right? And then, they get involved with some dude that, has an eye, or yeah, the eyes for their younger daughter, and they don't want to um believe it. They want to sweep it under the rug, and kind of leave it as it is, because they like the dude, and have the idea of being married, is very special. Like, some dudes be acting like that. Like my uncle is he's really proud to be, married and all that, even though, I ain't gonna go into all of that, but it's not, let's just say, it ain't the Huxtable situation. He you know what I'm saying, by far. And it's like, the thing is the idea, he likes the idea of him being married. It's like a prestige to it. And it's like that's how women are with with being a wife. It's like a prestige to it. Like, it's, you're above other women that are not, married, and people look at you with prestige, right? And it's like, that's a certain element when it comes to women, wanting to be wives and stuff and being married, even if they really don't want to be married. It's like, they want to, have it have that reality one day to, prove people, um but the thing is that, you know even just to have somebody around, like, some women, they can't be in out of a relationship. They always have to be in a relationship because they can't be by themselves. Like, you got women that they can't be by themselves. It's almost impossible. They start to go crazy when they're not in a relationship. And women like that, you have a woman that has some type of, you know attachment to men, and you know she's so attached to this dude that she doesn't even care that he might be molesting his daughter, or she even knows that he's molesting her daughter, and she just doesn't do anything about it because she's attached to this dude. And it's like, yeah, you open all of these doors up. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, and that already has happened. And these women, they're the product of that. it's not like they're going to um work that through or get past that. These women are damaged, and they're, um they're not uh accustomed to being around men. They might need some adjustment period to, like, I'm not saying all of these women can not adjust to being with a man. I mean, maybe they might need a couple failed relationships to figure it out or something. But I mean, the thing is a lot of these women are just, they're not even used to being around men like that. Like, and they're not used, they weren't trained to be a wife. So it's not like they're just going to be wives. They're not trained to be wives. They weren't trained to be wives. And it's this is this is why it's like the whole, modern, or 1950s, patriarchal nuclear family. It's just, it doesn't matter if you got a job making $100,000 a year, or opportunity to make 150. um it's going to be a short supply of women that you can actually pick to be stable wives. That you'll have, a stable household with. It's a short supply of them. It's so short a supply. I mean, if you're black, like, you probably have to, you most likely are going to have to increase your opportunities to find that person. You'll have to go into an interracial relationship most likely, because it just, you know, as far as the decimation, it's like, imagine, the elites dropped a bomb, and that bomb was crack cocaine, cocaine, and welfare and feminism. I mean, black people were in the blast zone. I mean, we are affected the most. I mean, a lot of those things were targeted directly at us. We were a part of that. Like, and we were in the blast zone. We're affected the most from feminism, from the crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s and 90s, and welfare. We're affected the most. I mean, we're like, I mean, we were right in the blast zone. A lot of us is, faded to dust. Um, yeah, like, it's very difficult in as far as, seeing a black woman as wife material. Like, that's like almost, it's like, wow, you have to probably stop and do a triple take or a quadruple take if you know what I'm saying, when you around a woman, is a black woman, is that behaves and acts like a wife, like, or to be wife. Like, most of those women, to be honest, they get snatched up. Like, in Chicago, women that are like that, most of them are already married. You just, you ask them, like, yeah, I'm already married, or all right, I have a boyfriend, whatever. Like, women like that are in short supply, especially in the black community. I mean, and that's why it's like, yeah, like, it's, I mean, like I say, we were in the blast zone. We were right there. Like, the bomb dropped, we were like fucking only a meter away to 10 meters away, like, right in the blast zone. So, yeah, it's no money that's gonna fix all of that. That has to be, like, know, explaining the radiation, thing, or in the blast zone analogy, actually kind of explains, or solves the whole issue as far as how this is going to be fixed. Like, I mean, because black people were in the blast zone. I mean, it's a lot of, like, radiation degradation, right? And it takes a long time for radiation to degrade. You know, if you want to you want to go like I mean like this live stream, this video is just like real dark. You know, it's like this whole topic, it is kind of dark. I ain't gonna lie. Like, but if you if the basically if you look at Chernobyl, there's a bunch of documentaries on Chernobyl. I don't know if you're if you probably should know about Chernobyl. I mean, especially if you're probably 30, anybody that's probably 35 or older, they probably know about Chernobyl. But basically, it was a nuclear blast from um, a radiation tower in a power plant in like basically I think it's like near Ukraine or something like that. And basically, like it's the only area like that in the world where you could actually see what the fallout, nuclear fallout, actually looks like. Because it's like you got deer that has like they have like five antlers, I mean like six series of antlers and shit like that. They got mutations and all of that. And they're still going through the process of evolution and to basically unmutate from all of those radiation isotopes and stuff like that in the area, all of the contamination of from the radiation. It creates mutations and everything. So it's like basically, I mean, it's gonna take man a long time for this to like resolve. Like, and it's I mean, it's just that it's no money that's gonna change that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, I hate to like, I know people are, ambitious and everything. They have these, solutions that's, they think is gonna solve the problem, and then, somebody else is just like, nah, it's a little bit more nihilistic than you think, buddy. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, the thing is that it just you got men that are traditional, and then you got women that are untraditional. It's more untraditional women than there are traditional men. And what I mean by traditional men is men that just want to work. They want to work hard. They want to be providers. And for their providership, they want a woman to listen to them. That's the short example of what I mean by a man that is a traditionalist. Most men are still trained or even want to be traditional. Like some dudes have a problem. Like a lot of dudes that grew up in single parent households, they do have a problem with that. They have a problem as far as being a traditional man, but they still want that because I mean that's what people's programming still is. The movies and TV shows still show husbands and wives, interacting with each other. That's the still the standard. Even for white America, the standard is a husband and a wife. Like, I mean, the thing is that basically, um, society, it just as far as the whole idea of women needing men, they don't need men anymore. It's a lot of cases very optional. You have to actually choose to be a wife, and I mean, even if you chose to be a wife or not, it's not gonna, if you're not a wife, if you've not been trained to be a wife, you're gonna have problems being an actual wife. And it's no money. It's no money you gonna earn to force someone. It's like the whole argument in like the I guess the whole like the game, or even you could even call it red pill. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Like it is that statement is. I mean, it's like it's like golden because in very much you can't turn no hoe into no housewife. And it's just I can go in it, in depth, but you really can't. It's like why you trying to do it, it'd be like, trying to create fake Frankenstein. Like a lot of dudes be, and I've done it. A lot of dudes try to turn hoes into housewives. And it's like you can't turn no hoe into no housewife. And it's like, it's no dollar amount that you can pay them to be your housewife, that they're gonna, um just be this awesome housewife. They can pretend, they can try, and drink themselves away trying to pretend to be this wholesome housewife, but at the end of the day, like, that black snake gonna moan. And the thing is they gonna be moaning, with it. And it's like it just, you can't turn no hoe into no housewife. I mean, that's the shit is old and is gold and is still remains true to this day. Like you can't do it. When you try to, it's like trying to dress up, a pig and put lipstick on it. It's like, you know, to show it off as that's your companion. Man, people gonna still see a pig. I don't care if you put a dress on the pig, put a lipstick and a wig, it's still a pig. I don't believe that that's your woman. It's a pig. But it's like, yeah, it's ain't no turning no hoe into no housewife. Sorry. You're gonna be a cuck, or either a cuck, or you're gonna go through some abuse. Either way, it's gonna be some abuse. And if you're sadomasochist and you like abuse and like to be spanked and everything like that, yeah, I mean that's right up your alley. You're gonna need to be you're gonna need to be in a maximum security wing of the simple asylum because you crazy as fuck. They gonna have to they're gonna have to bring out cattle prods on your crazy ass. Super simp. Yeah, all you pay pigs and all that, dressing up like a little boy to get spanked. And I mean, like, oh man. I mean, like, that's crazy. I remember watching Billions, and the dude, he had a fetish for getting spanked. He'd get tied up. He was I think he was a district attorney or something like that. And he had this thing where he used to like to get spanked and tied up. You know, he's a district attorney by day, and at night getting spanked, and tied up and put on a leash. You know, I mean, yeah, it's dudes ain't going for all that, man. It's just not going, and it's like, yeah, dudes be out here trying to turn hoes into housewife. That's literally simps. That's literally how simple, the reason why there's simp America is because all these dudes be going out here trying to turn hoes into housewives. I mean, like, you know, it's just like, man, symptomonious. Like, it just like these dudes out here just trying to turn hoes into housewife. Look up every divorce, any divorce you ever you could think about, you know, and it's like, I mean, most of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. Somebody tried to turn a hoe into a housewife. They look at it like, I mean, that's what dudes think they could do. They can turn a hoe into a housewife. Or turn, a woman is disobedient, don't want to listen to you, into a housewife. And that ain't no damn, that's a defiant housewife. That's a bad housewife, which is not a good housewife. So she shouldn't be a housewife. Somebody stinks up the NBA. What do? They get kicked out of the NBA because they stinking up the NBA. scoring, 0.00 games, points and assists and rebounds. You you just out and you just out you on the floor running around. You just you ain't getting no rebound, you know, you ain't made no points, or you shot the ball, but it ain't going to basket. You ain't getting no rebounds, you ain't passing, making no assists. You just out there just running around. You know what I'm saying? Just running back and forth. You might as well be, well, shit. Soccer wouldn't be beneficial if you can't, but you just out there just running. You might as well be running cross country. You just out there just running around. Ain't made no stats. The whole stat sheet zeros. Oh man. I mean, it's like, yeah, like if you're not that, you're not good at it, you're bad, meaning you're bad at it, you shouldn't be doing it. And then eventually you stop doing it. So I'm just not a wife. Some women realize that they tell they cry with their friend, and then they have a little couple shots of gin, or some vodka, and it's like, I I just know, I'm not a wife, Susie. Susie, I'm just not a wife. And then she just cries, and then after the tears settle, she has a sip of vodka, you know, and makeup, all of the makeup is just, just looking like a clown, is dripping the makeup, and then the tears mixing and dripping and everything. It's like, I'm not a wife, Susie. I'm just not a wife. Yeah, you're not. You're a terrible wife. And it's like, um that's just, that's okay. You just don't be a wife. Be a dog mom. And it's like, yeah, like this dude's out here trying to turn wives that are not wives. You know, just in general, it's no money that's gonna change that. It's no could be making $1 million a year. It ain't gonna change the fact that you got a terrible woman, and it's a bunch of terrible women out here to choose. And it's like, chances are you choose the terrible one. I mean, like, yeah, like it's no dollar amount that's gonna change that. And it's like, that's the standard in this country. Like, and it's like, uh I mean, people forget it's not just as simple as zeros and ones. It's not just as simple as, like, okay, I just give you more money and everything is right. Like, no, no, I wish it was like that. I would, man, I love money. Like, that's one of the reasons why I like finance. Like I absolutely fucking love money, right? I mean, like, I get depressed when I don't make no money. I when I don't like get us, if I want a certain amount of money and I don't get it, like, I ain't gonna even lie. When I don't really when my money ain't flowing good, I usually get depressed about that. Like, I do attach, like, I am about money. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm like a stuck up bitch. Like, when I don't get no money, like, I don't like shit. Like, I ain't saying that nobody got to give me any money, but I mean, my money ain't right, man. I don't like that. You know, like, that shit really grinds my gears. Like, I just be kind of down about that. You know, I ain't gonna lie, money does make me happy. Like, a lot of times, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's just like, when I can't do certain things, I guess it's just like a kid. Like, a kid, when he can't get something he want, like, he just kind of has an emotional response about that. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like that's how it be, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like that's just how it is. I mean, but the thing is that I like money, but money is not gonna solve all. It's not like money is fantasy land and you just get everything you want and everything is everything. Like, nah, it does not work like that. Like, money is just money. Like, and that's the whole thing is when people be trying to. This is I wish every man thought like me in the sense of like what I know. Like, if every man thought like I did, like, I mean, dudes would literally, like, the strip clubs would just close overnight because nobody would go in there. Like, dudes would just simping would just be like just it was the simping would just I mean almost cease to exist. Like, I mean, like, I mean, it's like basically what I'm saying is I know for a fact you don't have to make a whole bunch of money to like make women don't are not attracted to money like that. Like women don't attach money to to their attraction for their natural attraction for men. If the men that they like, if they like them, to be honest, they don't even give a fuck if he has some money or not. And this is what dudes really don't understand. If dudes understood this, they wouldn't be out selling dope, taking no penitentiary chances whatsoever, because they would know, just like I do, and I'm not the only one, that women it doesn't matter how much you have, what kind of car you drive to get a fucking woman to be attracted to you. I'm not saying women want to struggle or they don't want you to have a bunch of money and all of that, or they don't like money. Not saying that. I'm saying that ain't their ultimate desire. Women don't go to sleep coming about money. They come about the dude they like, dicking them down. That's what they getting wet dreams over. They ain't getting wet dreams over no goddamn dollar bills, $100 bills or whatever. They don't. It doesn't work like that. Like, dudes think that money is the end all be all. Like, oh, I just trick for life. I just use money for everything. And I mean, it's like, it's a certain type of woman that will be your. It almost like you have an employee for life if you just have a whole bunch of money. It is women like that. Don't get me wrong. I understand. Like, it's women. If you got money, they look at themselves like they work for you. Like, you're their slave for the money that you have. It is some women that are like that, especially nowadays. Like, but I mean, that's not like every woman is like that. Every woman is not that motivated by money that she's just gonna be doing whatever some dude says because he got some money. I mean, I don't even know the percentage of women that are like that, but it ain't like all women are like basically gold diggers, like to the point where they just overlook everything and their 100% desire is purses, fancy goods, luxury items, and money. Like, I mean, it is some women that are, don't get me wrong, it is some women that they damn near, like, I mean, that's, I don't know. Like, they, what I'm saying, just they really are gold diggers. Like, believe in every sense of the word. That's what they about. You know, they probably sniff green cocaine for all I know. Like, they really about their paper. They demons about their paper. And they trying to, The dude paying money, they just gonna be all up under. Like, I mean, but it's like it's quite a few women that are like that, are motivated by that. But it's like dudes, get they think they try to be like monkeys, with the like dollar bill experiment. They get basically they gave a group of monkeys some money, and the monkeys realized, okay, if they gave the handler the money, the handler will give them some like treat or something that they like, or whatever, a banana or something like that. So what they found out was the monkeys started to buy the bananas, the male monkeys, and they would just basically give it to the female monkeys to have sex. So I mean, it all goes back to animal behavior. So it's like some dudes, they just be like, you know what, this works. Give the woman a banana, and then I get my, I get what I want. I mean, at one time, I was one of those monkeys, and then I wanted more out of life. But yeah, like it's, it at the end of the day, like it's, that's not sustainable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, a society where every woman is a whore. I mean, that's just not sustainable, right? That's Sodom and Gomorrah or some shit, Babylonian or Babylon, Yeah, it's not a society like that. It's not sustainable, as well. Like, I think Rome had some issues with that and stuff too. But and that ultimately led to the fall of Rome. But the thing is that yeah, this thing has to go through some intergenerational evolution. This is what this thing is. And I'm optimistic. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I think that I don't really know what the future holds. I think eventually things will kind of normalize, or maybe they'll find some type of normalcy, or I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't really necessarily know what the future will hold. I mean, I think people will realize, how to survive. I mean, and um, men and women will need each other for survival. But I think, what you're seeing with the younger men now, they're demanding more from women. Like, it's either, take it or leave it. And if they gotta leave it, they leave it. And if it's a lot of men that just, choose to leave it, you're gonna have a lot of women that are by themselves. And women don't really like being by themselves. And that garners a lot more respect. If you um if men get more respect, it will be more of an equitable relationship, because what you have, the last, I would say, decades, you got a lot of women disrespecting men, and actually even getting away with it, and it's, it's out of control, and it's like, I think that when it comes to a situation, if it goes to a point where men and women become more equitable, then I mean, there's some hope there. But I don't know. I mean, but as far as the conversation, as far as Sergeant Willie Pete's theory of elites paying more, it's not gonna change the mindsets of women in America, in the West or whatever. Like, it's just not. It's just, it's not gonna bring nuclear families back. It might have some impact as far as maybe more people will feel comfortable to have children. I mean, like, everybody ain't gonna be having children, because I think the whole not having children thing goes beyond money. Like, some people might have had a rough childhood, or they had a rough experience with their parents and seeing how that goes, and they just don't want to have children. They've been traumatized in their childhood or something, and they just don't want to have children for whatever reason. Like they don't really want to deal with the responsibilities. They kind of like selfish and they know it. They don't, this is what they saying. So it's like, yeah, some people don't even want to have children. Um, some people, a lot of people don't want to even get married. People have no desire to get married. Um, that's just money ain't gonna solve that. Like that's a behavioral thing. That's people's behaviors and emotions, and they tie it to their thoughts. And it's no money that's gonna change that. I mean, that's kind of going outside of just money and expectations. It's going into human psychology, behavior, biology, because you got the environment is fucked up. Like money ain't gonna stop Russia from fucking closing in on Ukraine. Money ain't gonna stop, all of the little hot spots in the world, what's going on. Like, ain't no money gonna solve that. Like, like that affects what people want as far as if they want to have children. Some people believe there's gonna be nuclear fallout, and they see the pressure points of the world as far as these wars that's going on and everything. They don't feel That's another reason. That doesn't have anything to do with money. Like that's one of the reasons why people are kind of scared to have children. They worry about the future of society, so they made a conscious choice because they like, it's the same way an animal would. If an animal believes, it's gonna be any instability, they're not gonna have children. Like prime example, okay, some animals when they're in they call it forgot what the word is. They basically being raised in a cage. When they're out of their environment, like if they're not in their actual environment, if they're like in a zoo or something, they don't have children. They practice basically they basically don't have children. They don't get pregnant. They don't for how I don't know how they do it, but it's certain animals um basically captivity they call it. Like they do not have children in captivity. It's a long like it's quite a few animals. If they're raised in captivity, they not gonna have any children. I think it's certain. I don't know what an example of an animal that doesn't have children in captivity or is rare. Um I don't know, but it's quite a few animals. Yeah, if they're in captivity, they don't have children. And it's like animals, they sense danger. If they sense danger, they won't have children, or they'll kill or eat their children. Because like if it's a famine or something like that, like yeah, mice, they eat their children, as a means of survival. Like it's a Bible story about the Israelites. They faced the famine and ate their children. Like I'm not making this shit up. It's in the Bible. I don't know exactly where, but yeah, the Israelites ate their children to survive a famine. So the thing is, it's like when humans, they're just like animals. If they sense danger, if they sense future danger for their offspring, they won't have no children. And ain't no money gonna solve that. Like it's yeah, the world is fucking unstable. It's a lot of fucking problems in the world. It's a lot of wars, it's a lot of possible wars, it's a lot of beefs, tensions on this planet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nuclear weapons and all kinds of other weapons and shit. Like people sense danger. people don't feel confident. It's a lot of people don't feel confident of having children in a chaotic environment because they just see what's going on. They see the wars. Like people see shit on TV. They see the Gulf War. Not the number one, the Gulf War number one wasn't really on TV, but Gulf War number two was definitely, you can catch footage on, the Gulf War number two, and like I think they went in there in like 2000, I think 3 or 2002. Like they can see the Afghanistan war. They can see, all the things that's going on. Like, people might not, the news might not show that much, but when people start going online, like people start getting basically um DSL cable speed modem, or cable or high speed basically internet, they start going to, these sites start posting stuff that people can basically view what was actually going on, like that they didn't show on TV. That's where people show, Al Qaeda with the people's heads being chopped off and shit. Like people can actually go to these little sites and actually see what the fuck is going on that the news is not showing. What is actually going on in these wars and stuff. Like, you know, and it's like, yeah, some people get, thrown off by the idea of raising. I mean, they seeing what's going on with Haiti, like they, dude named fucking, what is the dude name, Cannibal or Barbecue, and it's not because he liked barbecue, no, because he be barbecuing people that he kills. That's why he's named Barbecue. Like people don't feel comfortable in a world with a dude named Barbecue, and it's not because he make the best barbecue. Like my cousin, his dad used to make some of the best ribs known to man. Like if he would have had a rib joint, he'd be a super mega millionaire because he had like some of the best ribs that you could ever taste in your fucking life. And his son knows how to basically he knows the recipe and the preparation. He said basically it's in the preparation. It's not necessarily, the seasoning or anything. He said basically it's the preparation. But he don't want to tell me the recipe or the instructions because it's like they little family thing or whatever. But the thing is, it's like, nah, that's not why he's named Barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Like, he actually barbecues people that he kills. Like, nobody feel comfortable in no fucking world where there's, barbecue just out running around, you know what I'm saying? Causing ruckus. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of fucking, it's a lot of crazy people and shit. Like, they show on Twitter, they were showing the dudes, it was some dudes somewhere. I think it happened in, what did this happen? I don't remember where exactly it happened, but it was like some dudes put on a UPS uniform and they basically burglarized this house and they killed like 3 adults and left 2 toddlers to watch, their parents and sibling get killed. And the dude that got caught, he got life in prison. I guess it happened like a year or two ago or something. And he don't want to tell on his boys or whatever that actually was in on it with him. So they gave him life without parole. But yeah, like nobody really, man, people seeing that type of shit, like they get turned away about the idea of like raising children in this chaos. Like, and it's no, like I say, ain't no money that's gonna like put a band-aid over that. Like it's no, like, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things. Like money does have a lot of limits. Like if you really think about like the limits of money, money is not really like, the way you think of it, you can buy whatever you want to buy and you can have whatever you have. But humans are have souls, they have minds, they have brains, hearts, they have emotions. It go money does not it doesn't what I'm saying, it doesn't defy fucking uh you know uh entered certain dimensions. Like, it's just money doesn't money has it's not money is not interdimensional. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's very limited. Like, you could buy um food, and you could buy things. You can't fucking buy people. It's like, and I think that's why, it's like, the whole goes into the Civil War. When them white dudes, and this always I chuckle, and I always think about this, when the white dude says he don't like black dude, I mean, not black dudes, but women. uh when he say he don't like black women, I just chuckle, because I think of the Civil War, right? One of the reasons, they don't really talk about this shit, but I think about it. It's like explicit history. You don't think about all of them slave masters they was gonna have to give up all that black pussy, all that motherfucking black, all of that access to that black pussy. I mean, I mean, like, a lot of people don't even. It was it was a movie that came out. I think they filmed it in the 70s. Um, I never can think of it or remember um what it was called. I think it was called Goodbye Uncle Tom. I think that was what the name of it was, and it was just basically this really graphic slave movie, and they filmed it, and it was kind of a comedy too. And it was like they filmed this in, like, it had to been like like early 70s, and they was really graphic about what actually went on in slavery. It was the most graphic slavery. I tried to show it to my mother. My mother couldn't take 2 minutes of that movie. She had to shut it off, and she never went back to try to watch it. She had to shut it off. It was too graphic. They were literally showing. It was like basically a movie that it would be probably classified as X rated. You know, it was like they were showing. Um, Basically, it was a scene where all of the slave women were living in like one, like it was like a barn, and you can just imagine it probably is 100 women, 100 women in this barn, and the dudes with the overseers and the people that worked on the plantation, they would just get drunk, and they would just run in the barn, and any woman that they could grab, they would can catch. you know, they were, basically going in her. Like, it was like 5 or 6 dudes, they get drunk and they go in the barn. I mean, like, just imagine you got 100 women in one barn that you can have access to anytime you want. You can have the best one anytime you want. Like, if it was like, you know, a pretty woman, pretty, that was that was your slave mistress. That's the master's slave mistress. I mean, you think they wanted to give that shit up? Hell fucking no. I mean, that wasn't the only motivation that they fought in the Civil War was, that, but that was definitely that definitely played a big role in it. Like, man, you trying to take my bitches? War, motherfucker. Shit, man. Man, them motherfuckers fought and died for some black pussy. So when I hear white dudes talking about, like, yeah, they don't like black women, That's what I be thinking about. I'm like, Cap, major Cap. I mean, your ancestors, man, they fought and died over that motherfucking black pussy. To have access to that free black pussy, they fought and died for that shit. They say it was so much blood from the Civil War, it seeped down into the soil to where it started, basically becoming red. That was what my uncle said. My uncle he was like 90 some years old when he died. He died. I mean, he was probably born in like 1920 or 1910. He was in World War II. He said the red clay soil, the reason why it's red is because of that Civil War. That's what he said. I mean, that might be like a old wise tale or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. Like, but it was one of the deadliest wars in this country for sure. So yeah, when they say that shit, man, I be like, man, you crazy as hell. You know damn well you crazy over that black poo-tang. But the thing is like, um, yeah, I got sidetracked into all of this, but the thing is this. It's no genie going back into the bottles, no Furbo's going back into Pandora's box. And ain't no money gonna, change women's behavior. You know, I mean, and when I say behavior is how you logically make your decisions based off of your emotions, how you feel, and your thoughts, you know, good or bad, positive or negative. Like the way women's behavior is, this is something that they are used to. That's something that they were, even certain behaviors are trained or accepted and normalized. Good or bad. Like it's no amount of money that's gonna erase that. It's no amount of money that's gonna change that. And that's why this whole, okay, money is gonna equalize the situation or equalize everything. It's like, no, it's I'm not gonna, it's certain things I agree with, Sergeant Willie P. There's certain things I don't. I mean, but this is definitely, I get it. It sounds good. Just the elites had a meeting. We're gonna pay people 100% more than what we normally pay, and then it's just people start, they bank accounts start looking real nice, and more money is being made, and people got a whole bunch of money, and it's like 1990s again or some shit, where people making a whole bunch of money and going from one job to another. Like, I mean, yeah, it seems probably the people have more fun, but it's not like people are gonna go, they're gonna have some type of, Huxtable household, or um even it turned into the honeymooners or some shit like that. Nah, it's not. There's just no money is gonna solve those social all those social issues that people have and men and women have. Money is not necessarily going to be, equalize that situation. For some, yeah, for some people probably have more, you know uh, optimism, and then that might lead to more um children being born and everything like that. But it's not gonna like be no like mass adoption. Like, people are not gonna mass adopt that because they can't. Money is not gonna magically make women be like, oh, I'm gonna marry you and be the most faithful wife, because you make this dollar amount that is just so profound. Like, women are just not like that. Women got their own money. They damn near, make money effortlessly. A woman could make whatever I'm doing right now. whatever I've been working on, a woman could have probably most likely by the just the her ability of being a woman can sell more of my products than I would, get more fanfare than I would. Whatever I'm doing, a woman could probably do it 3x, 5x, 10x. Because it's just, yeah, women just women attract men. Men be thirsty, women attract even other women because, women like that bring other men, and then the women try to see if they can, kind of share in the pool of men that these women attract, so that attracts them, and then you know they like to listen to women. Women are real social, so it's like, yeah, just you can't, as a man, I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that level of natural engagement. Like so if you know how to convert those people into customers, it's even better. Like, a lot of women are able to sell a lot better, I believe, than men, because they can use their feminine wiles, and women are more trusting. This is what you learn in psychology. Like, one of the things about women in society, when you think of trust, who you trust, a woman or a man? I know if you're red pill, you probably gonna be saying a man, but like, if you ask probably a young, let's just say a 15-year-old boy, he'll most likely say a woman, because women have the motherly, like, um kind of aesthetic. They have the idea of a mother or grandmother that's associated with women. Nurses, teachers, and that's who people trust. People trust women more. That's why women could be nannies, and they could watch over children. And then women have the ability to have motherly instincts to raise babies, and give nurturing and stuff like that. That's a natural thing they have. But I mean, the thing is that you can't compete with all of that. You know, I mean, women have an upper hand in that regard. And the thing is that, yeah, women don't necessarily need men. Like, they can make their own money with themselves. Like, how many women have hair salons? Hair salons are like economic powerhouses for women, especially even black women. A lot of I used to like drive around Gary, and one of the things that I noticed, and it's not just Gary, you could just say that the economy of the ghetto, right? The richest people in the ghetto are, the people that own like the rib shops and the barber shops and hair salons. The hair salons make more money than the barber shops. And I'm talking, you could have a hair salon and make like a hundred plus $1,000 a year just off of a hair salon. You got women that are making over $100,000 a year just doing hair, you know, supplying hair, supplying certain, oils and hair solutions and stuff, and then actually doing hair for women. Women are able to make so much money. Like, I'm not saying all of women, because you could do got a lot of women that are struggling because they just don't know how to be like the women that have hair salons. They're entrepreneurial, like, they have that entrepreneurial spirit. So, they hustling. You know what I'm saying? Like, not all women are like that. Like, it's not like all women are natural salesmen or anything like that. No, it's just, a lot of women do know how to make money. Like, not all of them, quite a few of them though. They know how to make money. They know and they still able to work. Nurses are making over $100,000 a year standard. Okay. Um, and the thing is yeah, women making money. Like they don't doesn't matter if a man make more money. Good job, buddy. Like they already know how to make their own money. Like it's not going money again, it's not gonna be like this ultimate equalizer. Even if you did make more money, the thing is that the problem with not making that much money, then you add housing to the mix. I mean, like, yeah, it is fucked up because that just affects everybody. That affects men and women. The housing costs being so expensive, and you don't make that much money from a job. In a standard, the standard for earnings is lower, unless you get in certain positions. Like, yeah, that's gonna affect both men and women. Like, but let's just say hypothetically, housing costs go low, and then people start making more money. Yeah, some people are gonna get comfortable, and then they're gonna have a house, and then they're gonna get a woman and everything like that. But I don't think it's gonna be like some mass adoption, where it's just a whole bunch of people, getting married and having a house, no, because women know how to make their own money, and relationships are optional. Children are optional. Everything is optional. And that's still the standard. You know, Women could really create their own economy if they wanted to, like in the sense of they can have, that's what the hair salons are, the boutiques, um, even the restaurants or diners, I mean, women know how to make money. Like they know how to like communal, like be social. They're more social than even men are as far as bringing other women together. That's why feminism was so effective, because they're already hive like as far as their interactions with other women. Men are just not like that. Men don't give a shit about other men like that. We just bug each other to see if you see that, it's like men like dogs. Did you get a bone? Did you get a bone today? Like, you got that one friend that calls you to see if see how you doing, if you got rich yet. Like, I mean, that's how some men are. Like, did you get a bone today? You know, I mean, I'm like, dude, like, it's not like men are just all communing with each other. Like, I mean, like, it's some dudes they operate like that. Like, I remember when religiously, when I was a Muslim, practicing Muslim, like I used to, probably have more conversations with other men, and way more than I do now. But it's like we still had the problem of being men and not collectively like organizing and helping each other. Like we were still, black men, and black men have a hard time working with each other outside of some type of hierarchy or organization. Like we have a hard time working together and organizing, like putting our money together, and investing with each other. Like women are better at doing that than men. I mean, they just are, and that's an advantage for them. Like, and the thing is like they know how to do that, and they're making money. And it's like, yeah, they don't have to, um, be wives, and they don't have to get married. They just don't have to. Those things are optional. So I again, like, I mean, it's just one of many things I just don't agree with. And it's just um it's just one of those things that it like I say, I mean, money is just not like, it's not some magic, like, you know bullet or tool that's gonna just change everybody and everything. And it's not like it's not like a Thanos glove where it just you just hit the button and it just magically creates some type of new world, or you know eradicates everyone from the world and straightens itself out. Like money, that's not what money is. And whether you make more or not, or not, I mean, it's always good to make more money, in my opinion. But I mean, as much as I would like to, but it's not some magic pill that's gonna solve all humanity's problems like that. Like, it just, you got people that have their own actions and behaviors and how they want to do things. And if it doesn't align with stable patriarchal families, it just doesn't align. And people that women are not, they're not trying to do that. A lot of them don't want to do that. And they wouldn't willing to go to extremes to even avoid it. As crazy as it might sound. And it's like it's no money that's gonna solve that. So